mountains and dunes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've rose and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way.
Hello, hi, good morning. Today is the 23rd of September. So this is the last week for the month of September. And what comes next is my birthday month of October 2024. This would be the last quarter for the year, and 2025 is already turning out to be a very consequential year for so many things. So before I jump the gun and and miss the part wherein I can provide a very good fill in the gap, especially for those who have not heard of me for the longest time or heard from me for the longest time. So this is it. This is yours truly, Clarice T, and welcome to my podcast. I can't remember actually whether this will be my first podcast for September because of so many goings on. And by the way, I just spent a lovely weekend with the kiddos, with the 3 grandkids, and yeah, they it's a give and take actually. Much of my energy had been spent, but on the positive and on the things that I receive, I have been restored. And it was truly a joy, a moment to savor when they were here, of course. It's just that there is something that I have noticed. Jewel, she's the eldest, and she's actually the easy choice when it comes to that time that I had spent alone with, because she needed the attention and the caring, the monitoring, and so Juanito favors hands down his Tita Lee. and he didn't want to kiss me goodbye because he wanted to show his Tita Lee that he truly favors her, I mean. So that's how it goes with our, with our feelings and with our flavor of the month, favorite, isn't it? So as for me, I can recall the times that I had to play the heavy hand. I had to resort to being the heavy hand and to be the bad guy, especially for kids who are in their terrible 2s, in their impossible 3s, in their talkback 4. And it is quite understandable to be not the most favorite person of a 5 years old or a 6 years old, especially when there is some corrections that are obviously being addressed, especially that other people had given another feedback about some things that are in need of correction. So playing the heavy hand would be how love is demonstrated, because giving in to the softer side of love will not help them. So actually, it is quite all right not to be consistently the favorite person of our family members 24/7, 365 days a year, because truth be told, relationships have their own ups and downs, and it will be impossible goal to remain in good standing in the estimation of our family members who can see us in our worst times or in the most imperfect time of our life, from the moment they see us with before brushing our teeth, before combing our hair. And so that's how family life goes. And before my birthday month, I just want to look back somewhat to how the years had been for me. Like I had started going in front of the camera rather than behind a typewriter and behind, being the silent type, the mousy Clarice who had been in the shadow of the more prominent and extrovert family members. That was 2003 when I had started it with a group of friends, young people. We did not have much controversies to tackle, to sort out in the beginning, so we were able to concentrate on the show. So I started with Buhay na Tuldok, and that was a TV show, a TV program, and as a director and the producer, I was into it, and that I had a chance for the first time to be in front of the camera, somewhat, even my name. So from being the fiction writer, the romance novel, I think I would give the credit to the publisher of Precious Pages Corporation, the Precious Romance, for doing a great job in promoting the series, so that the writers, the novelists in stable, would have a stable career. And so we did not need to be extra, we did not resort to extra mileage in terms of any publicity for our book. So I have not had any opportunity to promote my book like to my former classmates, because I had studied in Lucena West 1 Elementary School from graders up to grade. On the 5th grade, I transferred to Mary Hill Academy for 2 years, and then I went back to Quezon National High School. It's a walking distance from our house, where the family house was, at Don Feliciano Street, Ibabang Iyam. That's the barangay. So all throughout, I don't suppose that they would recognize Clariza talaga if they see the titles of the Tagalog romance. Anyway, I don't think they were the market for the books, because much of the fan letters that I received came from abroad, and we know that they are one of the most affordable free time occupation, leisure of our OFWs and those who would feel homesick and those who have some free time in their hands, and if they didn't want to spend so much, it's a very affordable leisure time, and it can tie them over the dead hours. It can address, it can somehow, I'd like to think that they were able to be comforted in their homesickness by what they have read, which are true to life situations about relationships. So in 2003, that would be 21 years ago. Oh my gosh, it has been that long. 21 years ago when I started doing production work, and my name that's the goal. The goal was to be on the public patronage, and because there weren't much controversy, I can safely say that I was a very unknown startup. The only reason that any kind of talk, whether on the positive or the negative, being attributed to me would be if my name had suddenly become part of the in your face, involuntary public information. So even if I had become a public information content, and that it would not be voluntary, of course, and it would not come from me because I have not sought out to promote myself, like call each of my former classmates, each of the people I had spoken with, although I have not forgotten. We all have our moments. So it's true what they say about youth being wasted on the young. The learning curves, and we are very much a work in progress, right? And so it will be unavoidable to be mentioned in whatever light there is when one has become part of the content in the public information. And for myself, because I am still continuing with my podcast with very highly opinionated, full of personal insights that I am sharing, most especially my faith and some personal insights about relationships, then therefore I could be viewed from a biased point of view, from a opposite spectrum, from at the other end of at the other side of any argument that I would put forward. And that would be I know that I am not welcoming it for sure, but it is part of the territory, and that it will give the viewers a more breathing a chance to make up whether they would want to continue listening, whether they would want to continue the any patronage or any personal sentiments and reactions from my podcast. It will clearly, the way that my own subscriptions, my own favorites, or my own playlist, in a manner of speaking, in the talk show, I should have said, I could have said talk TV, but we're past that era. So in the social media, full of podcasts and vlogs and channels, content creators, if I get to have an information personal information about certain personality, it is actually giving me time to balance that with what I would how I would view that person. Like, oh my gosh, this person is such a human being that before he came across smart choices, before he began making smart choices, he or she is part of the human race, a work in progress, who deserves so much grace and forgiveness because of the mistakes. And we are not all, none of us actually have been have what have grown into this world, are born and grew up without the need of experience as one of the teachers, the best teachers in fact, or the talk to by a person of authority, or by the consequences of stupidity. So we have received and we have experienced the natural consequences, as well as those we naturally term as the unjust. Of course, from our perspective, it's always some kind of unjust treatment and unfairness. And the negative, the not so flattering information about any person that's in the, in the public information platforms, that's on the that's in the contents. I still right now, my on and my ins, I am bound to make a confusing interchange about them. I have it to this day. So my English teacher, Mrs. Ariles, when I was in the 5th grade, had done her best to teach me. Like Miss Ruanto, I saw her in the mall, and I told her that I am going back to writing, and she said, "Good, great." So they did their best to teach to address the weakness in the chip in the armor of the tools of my trade, and they are still with me during my not so great day. And so that is part of the I would say the enduring readership and patronage, if ever I would still have it in the remaining 2024 and 2025, very specifically because I am actually in the middle of preparation for the products that will somehow get me into a wider audience. And I know for a fact that with the wider audience will come a much serious controversies and fluck and reaction and counter push with whatever that I would be sharing through my public platforms. So it is part of the territory. Having said that, I want to share my personal feelings about being regarded as somewhat setting a bad example when it comes to religiosity, to not being a religious person. Like for the time being that I have been in this very uncertain status, I truly have yet to reconnect, and that's what I want to address now. So given that my name is Clarice Mendiola talaga, that is the name I was born with from my parents, given the name given to me by my parents, um, it will be, I don't think I have to point out that I come from the family of Mendiola and Talaga. And some members of the Mendiola family and the Talaga family belong, or they have joined and they are being invited to occasions and organizations like Ugat. In the English translation of it is roots. They have totally assimilated in the community that we are part of, and they regard themselves as, having their roots here, somewhat here in Lucena City. But some members of the family have not, probably one or two occasions. There is an annual gathering of the pioneers from Lucena City, and I guess my mother had an occasion, one instance where she had attended by invitation, but it's not something that they had consciously um, consciously enlist me as a member, and that I should participate as I grew up. But does it mean I have something against it? Of course not. But does it mean that I would be, the UGAT has something, the organizers and the members have something against me and my family? Of course not. It's just that somehow there are things that we prioritize, and this priority is a very personal decision and personal prerogatives. So and that I would always be asked, because my name has acquired the family name of the husband I married. And whenever I say I'm Clarissa T. Garcia, I would be asked whether the Garcia family, I have married to one of the Garcia family here in Lucena, in Quezon, and I would say that I would beg off and would say that I had married the Garcia from the Central Luzon, or the Region 3. And so they would be unknown. Their family would not, I know that they would not be related to any Garcia here. So, total assimilation. So, when I don't think for the first half of my life, like since before 2003, there was not much issue about us not being invited or not being part of the assimilated organization to celebrate the pioneers, and to being part of the community. It's like, should we be losing our individualism, our own God given family membership, in order to prove that we are one, in terms of our identity, that we would somehow lose any desire to get to know about them, how they had fared, how we happened to be in Lucena City or in Quezon Province, in Mauban, Quezon. So these issues had not cropped up before 2003. So I had regarded it as unfair, for the same non-issue, for those non-issue to become part of the identity that I have, that I'm going to have for the other half of my life. And so I wrote about it, how during the more poignant. As a writer, I have that when it's just you and your feelings and your innermost thoughts. And the choice would be there about whether you would share it publicly or you would keep it as your own personal thoughts, because if you make it public, of course you would be judged, especially by those who would not take kindly upon looking at what your thoughts are. And you know the minority report, that can you be held responsible for the thoughts that run across your mind that had come and gone, or what your thoughts are, whether you have the predestined, or you have the tendency to think about these things, and you would be some people who are have taken it upon themselves to police what your thoughts and feelings are, and not actionable, not the actions taken, diba? Not the actions taken or the words that had been said, but by your action, I can know what your thoughts are, I can know what your feelings are, and some thoughts and some feelings are not welcome, or should be held. You should be held accountable for your thoughts. So there is no, the justice system is not about what our thoughts are, and before we commit the actual culpable action, right? And so as a writer, I had been in that kind of predicament, that what I write in the past was fiction, and that I use characters to say things and to react to certain situation. But when the time came when I have to use the first person as I and me, that was what had been more almost instantaneous reaction that had been triggered. So that was, I can still recall the dates, and that I did not promote it like, oh, you should read about what I think about this and that. So it did not come as of, I do not think I have that kind of brave soul to, to be in your face, like a gossip column or a talk show about, showbiz. That's why I admire them. They can talk about certain personalities and naming them, and then still be around them in the same circulation, or socially mingling with each other. But me, I don't have that kind of bravery, brave soul. So I write the I and me, and what I still got into much hot pressurized backlash. So I cannot say more, because they will be part of the submission, because there are different jurisdictions now that are taking play, and the biometrics that finally will make sense, or will identify that girl who was born, Clarita Mendiola talaga, and who had acquired the family of Garcia, and who have not been a member of the a certain organization. And now we have another jurisdiction where it will, as a writer, the the things that I put forth in the first person would be classified and would be evaluated from the point of view of various validity of personal expressions. So for now, that's it. And thanks so much for listening and Yeah. What comes next is truly more defining moments for us. So thanks much. This is yours truly, Clarice T.